So as I thought, the electrical in here is a total nightmare. There's about 4 different breakers running into this room that only had 3 outlets and 1 light. So I spent the morning identifying all of the different breakers and where all the wires go and everything like that. And now it's time to go ahead and start to fix and replace and update everything as much as possible. So here is where a lot of the electrical kind of comes into play, and I've shut off the breakers so the lights aren't as good. And you can see here, this is just a tarantula here of electrical. Some of it's no longer used, some of it's going to be, and the rest of it's going to be basically reused as long as the wires are in such good shape. And for the most part, they do. Now, some of this is running conduit, some of this is running flexible conduit, and some of it's running that old school black pipe. And so I'm going to rip this down. We want to put a ceiling fan in here. So I'm going to replace this. I'm going to take this out, knock a little bit of this out, and then put in a brace for the ceiling fan. Alignment's going to be the main issue here. Here we go. So you can see here that I'm trying to take apart the connectors here and at the same time protect the wiring that's available to it. And then I'm going to demount this really old school bracket that's there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is start to align this bracket here. Now this is a new construction bracket, but it'll actually work really well here since I have access to the attic. And so now what I need to do is punch the holes in here and modify this flex Romex to go into the side, because there's only 2 holes at the top that I have access to. And so that'll work out really well. So the big issue here is going to be alignment, and then the wiring will all be done after the drywall's up. So that'll go real smoothly. But yeah, it shouldn't be a big deal. Having access to the attic here is a huge benefit. They do sell something like this for remodels, for previously constructed homes, but this one is just a lot easier. All right. So you can see here I'm starting to get the wire prep to go into the holes that I knocked out, and then I'm going to tighten those up and make sure that they're good. Now I had a little bit of flexibility in here, so I actually had to mount those into the box before I actually mounted the box itself, and then I had to come from the top to make sure I could reconnect. I had a video of that, but I think with all the cursing they probably would have taken the video off of YouTube. So the next phase of this project is to get a new box on this outlet right here. This one was installed probably some later date, and they just ran the wire straight down. So I'm going to replace this with a box, because I'm actually going to come off of here and supply another outlet in the room. So the first step is to go ahead and secure this in a new box, in a new junction box. All right, here we go. Anytime I'm replacing or adding a new box and the wall is open, I always put a 4x4 box in there, just because I feel like it is so much easier to pull wires in. And anytime it's going to be more a junction box where wires just aren't coming in, but they're always coming out, I always use a 4x4, and mounting it is really straightforward. So the next phase of this project is to run a wire from here. I'm going to come over to this stud, up through the attic, and actually drop it into this cavity here. And I'm going to put an outlet over there, and a outlet outside, and an outdoor light with a switch inside of here. And so since the walls are open, this process will be a lot easier, and you'll be able to actually see it from both sides. So here we go. Battery on my normal drill died, so I had to use this hammer drill to finish this project off, but it worked out well. You can see I'm running the Romex down to a box down here at the bottom, and then feeding the switch, which will go outside. I'm tacking it in every 12 inches. You can also see that I bumped out the boxes from that door, so when I go to add the outlet covers, it will actually match up. So the next phase of this job is going to be to put an outlet outside and a light outside that will be controlled from this switch. And so I'm going to go outside and drill holes from the inside out. I'm sorry. I'm going to go outside and go from the outside in, because if you go from the inside out, you're going to bust out the stucco. You can go from the inside out if you have like siding or something like that, but with the stucco, it'll destroy it when you come out. So I'm going to drill the holes from the outside in, and then I'll mount the box and the boxes for the outlet and the light. Okay, here we go. So I've measured from the inside to figure out specifically where I want the box to go. And so I'm going to go ahead and mark that with a Sharpie. Come over 14 by 18. Almost got it right on the dot there. So this is where I'm going to bring the cable into the box here. So then I got to get the box prepared as well, which is pretty basic. Make sure you don't lose anything as you're taking these out. And so it comes with a little bag. Open this up. It will come with these inserts, and that will make sure that the whole box remains waterproof. So we're going to tighten this on. This will make it seal proof. I wish I had a little bit of a bigger flathead screwdriver, but it'll get the job done. They only give you 2 because they figure you're going to be coming into at least one of them. Now I could have run the conduit up here, but I didn't like the way that looks. I could have just come out of here up to there. So I wanted to keep as much in the house as possible. Because paint and conduit's a pain in the butt. You got to degrease it first, or the paint will come off over time, for sure. The next thing you got to do is attach these little brackets to here. All right, and so you can do it a couple of different ways, and whatever you think will look the best is the approach that you want to take. So here we go. So I'm gonna mark this where I want it. Get my level out here. Make a hole right here. This will be for one of my tap cons that I'm using. And then all I'm doing here is trying to set the level. Trying to get level on a stucco is always a pain. Make the mark right there, and we're ready to go. Now I'm going to drill through this. Now I'm going to drill through the stucco here. I'm going to I have 2 different size bits to do this with. Two right here for the tap con, and then I'm going to space out one that's going to be big enough for my Romex connector, because that's the method that I'm going to use to connect this in there. So here we go. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and figure out the placement for this. So then once I have my drill set and ready to go. Mounting the box for the outdoor light is going to be the same process as mounting the box for the outlet. And so measuring and everything, drilling, it's all going to be the exact same. So I have the mounting screws now done. And now it'll be time to chip away at this bottom part. So I put a larger masonry bit on here. Alright, so that got me started, and then I'll come through with the smaller bit and I will chip away at this to make sure that I have enough room to get in here. And then I'll puncture the wood through the inside, and that'll just make the whole process a little bit easier. So we'll do the top one next. And again, once you're drilling the holes through here, it goes pretty smoothly, but once you get through the stucco, that masonry bit will not drill through the wood with any efficiency. You can kind of hear I'm trying to make the hole big enough so that the connector will actually fit. And then once that's done, I'm coming through the backside to drill with an actual wood bit so the Romex can actually get through. Okay, so this is ready to go. So I've gone ahead and attached this to here. And I'm going to run the Romex in, attach it up. I'm going to silicone the heck out of this area, and from the inside and the outside. All right, here we go. Now I'm actually going to mount the brackets that I've added the connector so I can run the wires through, and it'll work out really great. Honestly, the project really went pretty smoothly. Again, doing the top and the bottom were basically the same. You can see I'm chipping it out there with my flathead screwdriver, which isn't the best practice, but it worked. And now I'm going to just run the wires inside, down through, and I'm going to actually have a schematic diagram of this in the next video. Okay, so now this bay of all new electrical is all finished up, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And so when so this is all ready for insulation and then drywall. The last electrical thing that I'm going to do before I put the drywall in is replace this box here. This box was installed at some time where they attached it to the lath, and I want to make it a little more secure. This actually represents the last of the electrical that I have to do before I drywall. So I'm going to finish up the insulation, and then I'm going to clean up, and then I'm going to go buy the drywall. It's actually getting real, because when the drywall goes up, that's when people start to notice you're actually doing work for some weird reason. They don't care about what's in behind it. They only care what they can look at. So anyway, all right, hope you enjoyed this part.